We've got a lot of action happening, people. The New York Jets struck a trade. A lot of ripple effects from that. The New York Jets had several quarterbacks in the facility yesterday for workouts. What does that mean? All of that and more. Special guest, your phone calls. Boy Green Daily starts now.
I'm going to lose my gosh-darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Lesnar Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you find your podcast. Thanks for chiming in. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe, and also get involved in the comment section. I'll answer your questions and comments throughout today's show. We will have a special guest joining us at 8 o'clock. More on that coming up, and your phone calls, as I said earlier. Look at this. We're also running out of time. Today is October 30th. Tomorrow's Halloween. And yes, we'll be dressing up in spooky attire. More on that tomorrow. But for those that are members of the Boy Green Coffee Club, our YouTube membership group, or you're just normal, casual viewers of Boy Green Daily, you know we do raffles every single month on this channel. So you're running out of time. So that means tomorrow is the final day you can submit raffle tickets for this month's contest. So make sure you guys get involved. And the way to do that is to spend $3 on the YouTube channel. That is the most, way to do it. I'm just bumbling words here. But yeah, spend $3 on the channel to get a raffle ticket. There's no limit to how many raffle tickets you can have for all our prizes on a month-to-month basis. Shout out here to MFC, baby, gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. That is an even Steven 20 raffle tickets for MFC so far this month. Nice job there, MFC. Appreciate you, pal. Keep it rolling. This is the kind of love that we want to see. You are in 4th place in our contest so far this month, so thank you, MFC. That raffle ticket, by the way, or that membership, excuse me, went to... Take a quick peek ski. That membership went to Johnny P. Johnny P. That's a nice raffle ticket for you, my friend. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Thank you, mother effing chew. Look at this, AntJets82 with a super chat member shout out. Ah, yes.
Wow.
Ant-Man, who I met at our meet and greet at the Chef Kevin Gilbert's restaurant, the Cloverleaf Tavern, member for 7 months. Boy Green got my mug yesterday. Yes, awesome. Like I said, I've been saying this for months, so hopefully at some point this breaks through. We're actually working on a brand new merch shop, so I'm glad that the old merch shop, for now, is still cranking that out. So if you guys want some of those items, feel free to grab those down below. But like I said, constantly working behind the scenes to get the new merch shop up. We got all kinds of new items, a new vendor, and everything else. So hopefully we'll have that soon, and we can do a big grand opening sale for that new merch shop. There's a lot of cool stuff there, but I appreciate you getting the mug. Nice. Hey, that just feels like the go-to for the Boy Green Coffee Club, getting the mug. So very nice. Shout out to AntJets82. Look at NC Green gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Hey now. All right, that membership went to B40B40. You're now a member to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Appreciate you. Thank you, NC Green. We'll add that to your raffle total as well here on the show. I'll get to more of your guys' gifts. Actually, let me get one more in here, and then we'll get to the subject matter at hand here, and we'll keep those flowing here. We got another Super Chat member shout-out here on the program. Let's go. My daughter, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
We got Thomas Schwach, 7412 member for 9 months. Love your show, BG. Keep it going. Don't trade Brees. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. Yes, we'll get into Brees, I'm sure, at some point in this show. But let's go here. We got the Michael Carter the second trade to the Eagles, and I got a lot of thoughts on that. We put up a YouTube short last night, but I have more thoughts. We'll get into that. But where I want to go to first is this. So I'm going to put this up on the big board. This was from NFL Network insider Mike Garafolo last night. The Jets worked out multiple quarterbacks. Desmond Ridder, the former Cincinnati product, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Now, let me go all Brian Windhorst, Johnny, and start waving my index fingers in the air. Now, why would the Jets do this? Why would the Jets be working out quarterbacks during their bye week? Curious. So there are two possibilities here, as I see it, for these two quarterbacks the Jets worked out. Number one, the Jets are just doing their due diligence. Every NFL team, for those who don't know, have an emergency list in their building of players they'd go to if an injury happened. Oh, here are the first 5 quarterbacks we'd call. Here are the first 5 running backs we'd call. Here's the first 5 wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line, blah, 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 blah. It's up to a general manager to make sure you have that list current. So every once in a while, you may want to bring a guy in for a workout. So, okay, he still looks like in the right physical shape or right this, that, or the other. Okay, he stays on the list. So that happens, and that could be. However, as my old radio partner, Jim the Man Child Lurch used to say, my journalistic antenna went up when I saw this news. I believe that this means that Tyrod Taylor's injury is worse than being led on. That's my fear. Now, let's sort of go back to the beginning. Tyrod Taylor gets arthroscopic knee surgery in late July, and he was out for the entire preseason. Okay. Then he returns, and he's the backup for the start of the season. We didn't have any quarterback roster gymnastics or anything like that. And Tyrod's back as the backup for week 1, and he's good to go. He plays in the week 3 game, fine, whatever. Jets lose a game. And then in week 7, Tyrod Taylor relieves Justin Fields in the second half. Justin Fields stunk. AG benched him at halftime. Tyrod in. Tyrod gets a knee to his surgically repaired knee in that game. So we go throughout the week, and AG's like, hey, by the way, Tyrod Taylor, he's sort of limited on this day, but he's going to be all right. And we're like, all right. He gave no indication that the injury was serious or would compromise his status. So we're like, all right, no problem. And then we start going through the week, and we're like, is someone going to be up here? And then Saturday, boom, Tyrod Taylor, not only is he not playing this game, he's not even making the trip. And you're like, what the hell? And Justin Fields is a starter. We all know what happened over the weekend. So the Jets have a bye week. They don't have to provide an injury report this week. But I'm just getting the heebie-jeebies that Tyrod Taylor's injury is more serious than they let on. And thus, the evaluation of these two quarterbacks, Desmond Ridder and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, means that the Jets could be going in this direction. But I just want to say this. These options suck, people. These options, with all due respect, I guess I should have started with that. Now I guess it's a little too late. But nonetheless, these options stink. Desmond Ridder and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I wrote a piece. It's in the YouTube description down below, but I'm going to give you the quick skinny on these two guys because why the hell not? Here are two guys the Jets worked out yesterday. Okay, so Desmond Ridder, he's 26. He was the 74th overall pick of the 3rd round of the 2022 NFL Draft. He's played for 5 teams over the last 3 years. Probably most famously, he's a former college teammate of Sauce Gardner at Cincinnati, which is nice. And here are his career statistics. He's appeared in 25 games. He's made 18 starts. He has a 63.6% completion percentage. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards and has a 16 touchdown and 14 interception ratio. Gonna be honest, not great. He only has 2 more touchdowns than he has picks. But he's just sort of meh at quarterback, right? And then you look at Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and he's much worse. Now, he's younger. He's 25. And he was a later draft choice. He was a 140th overall pick in the 5th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. He spent his first 2 years with the Cleveland Browns. This offseason gets traded in a package for Kenny Pickett, so he goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. They cut him ahead of final roster cuts. And his numbers are gross. He's appeared in 15 games. He's made 5 starts. He's completed 52.6% of his passes. He's thrown for 880 passing yards, whatever. And his touchdown interception ratio is 1 touchdown to 10 picks. Jesus. Good Lord. And this is a guy Nick Faria said, oh, maybe DTR action for the Jets. Gross. Those stats are nasty. So it's a long way of short of saying this. Okay. If Tyrod is seriously hurt, if he's banged up and missing a significant period of time, he's about to get placed on IR or something. I have no idea. I'm speculating here. Why don't we just bring out Brady Cook? And let's ride that out. Because with all due respect, and I got it right this time. Yes. With all due respect, the Jets are 1-7. No team in NFL history has ever come back from 1-7 to make the playoffs. That just hasn't happened in history. So you're saying there's a chance?
Playoffs? Are you talking about the playoffs?
Maybe, but probably not. If we're being honest, probably not. Probably not. So since that is probably not happening, playoffs. Then this season is no longer about playoff aspirations. Who knows if it ever was for some of you fans out in the audience. That means it's evaluation mode. If Justin Fields gets hurt, and, he plays a very physical style, and that could happen, I, as a fan, would much rather see Brady Cook than, again, checks notes, Desmond Ridder or Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Brady Cook has been around the team since May. He should know the playbook fairly well. I don't know what he's going to be. Is he going to be a franchise quarterback? I don't know. Can he prove to be a serviceable backup? I don't know. But you don't know till you try. So I think unequivocally Justin Fields should be the starting quarterback for the Jets in Week 10 against the Cleveland Browns. Week 9 is a bye, so they don't play this week, and they come back next week. Based on the performance he just had, why wouldn't Justin Fields start? He should start. There was the second best, start of his career. He looked great in Cincinnati, relatively speaking, for what it was. So Desmond Ridder and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, thanks, but no thanks. Don't call me. We'll call you. And spoiler alert, I'm not going to call you. No, thank you. So if this is what I fear, that Tyrod Taylor is more hurt than we are led to believe, then thanks for working these guys out and flying them out for an NFL workout, but thanks, but no thanks. I'd rather go to Brady Cook, because I would understand if you wanted to go to a veteran quarterback, if the playoffs were in the mix, the Jets were 4-3 or 5-2 or whatever. You're like, hey man, we're competing for the playoffs. We don't want to throw our playoff fate in the hand of an undrafted free agent rookie. Okay, I can understand. But we're not competing for the playoffs right now. We're just competing for the season. So to me, I'd explore the Brady Cook door, who again, and even though I would prefer that evaluation over other guys, that's twofold. One, because I want to see Brady Cook. And two, Brady Cook does a playbook better than these rando Madden-generated players in free agency. Why not go to Cook? Let Brady cook. Again, I hope we let Justin Fields cook, because that's who we'd like to see based on the game he played. But no thanks. No thanks. So just want to make sure we had that going up. DJ Dirty Cooch, where's Tommy Cutlets? He was claimed off waivers by the New England Patriots. The Jets, apparently, not only am I just a Tommy DeVito guy because I've got a connection to Tommy DeVito, and his agent for that matter, Sean Stellato, shout out to Sean. The Jets were interested in claiming Tommy DeVito. They never got a chance. New England had a higher waiver wire priority at the time they claimed him. So he is a backup quarterback in New England. Salute to Tommy DeVito. So he's been getting 53-man active roster paychecks. Good for him. Get a lot of Tommy Cutlets with that. So, yeah, long story short, just real quick on the knee issue for Tyrod, I'd look at my boy Brady Cook. Just to put that out there in the universe. So, again, that quarterback thing giving me a little bit of heebie-jeebies. What's going on there? Brian Windhorst. I'm going to Brian Windhorst meme. So I'm smacking the mic. What does that mean? I guess we'll find out. Let's get to the trade. Folks, if you've been listening to the show, I told you this was going to happen. Michael Carter II was the most obvious trade candidate for the New York Jets. He had fallen out of favor with the coaching staff. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. took his lunch money. He took his job. Michael Carter II was fully healthy on Sunday. He cleared the NFL's 5-step concussion protocol, and he played 8 snaps in the game. So Michael Carter II wasn't getting on the field anymore. Big contract. It just didn't make any sense to keep him. So the Jets had to move on from him. So him being traded, we talked about it the other day. I think it was Indy who was asking about it. Like, oh, man, I don't want to trade anybody. And I'm like, hey, man, one guy I think we're going to trade is Michael Carter. It just makes a lot of sense. Everyone else we can debate about. Brees, Quincy, this. We can debate about all those guys. The one that I thought, no debate, I mean, Michael Carter should be traded. And he was. Here's the trade from Adam Schefter. Jets sent Michael Carter II and a 2027 7th-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for wide receiver John Mechie III and a 2027 6th. So let's break all this down. There's a lot happening here. Number one, the Jets move up in the draft. All right. They get a pick swap. So it's not in 2026. That's the next draft. It's the draft after that. It's 2027. The Jets move up a little bit in the draft. Ding! You like that? Okay, very nice. That's a nice little ding for the New York Jets. I like that. That's nice. Okay. The Jets get some cap relief. Michael Carter II. They get some money savings. Ding! Like that. And here's the third ding. John Mechie III. Now, folks, I'm not going to lie to you. I know John Mechie III. I watched him in college, and I'll give you some notes and quotes on him in a second. But to me, he's just a talented dart throat wide receiver. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar. I'm not saying anything. He's just a kick of the tires. The Jets' wide receiver room is destroyed. Garrett Wilson has missed the last 2 games. If he returns for the Cleveland game, he basically missed a month of football, so we'll see if he's ready. I'd love to see Garrett Wilson out there, but who knows if he's going to be out there. Josh Reynolds, your other starting receiver, is out for a month. He was placed on injured reserve. And that leaves you with Alan Lazard, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith, and Isaiah Williams. And Isaiah Williams, by the way, looked very nice. A lot of those receivers I just mentioned looked halfway decent in the Week 8 Cincinnati Bengals game, but there's a lot of unknown there. With John Mechie III, he's on his 3rd team since August. He started on the Houston Texans, got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, now traded to the Jets. Here's a good thing for John Mechie III. He's going to get on the field here with the New York Jets. We got a whole lot of nothing in that wide receiver room. So we're going to find out exactly who John Mechie is. And to me, I think it's a worthwhile gamble, worthwhile risk, kick on the tires, excuse me. We got half a season to play here. Jets don't have any wide receivers. John Mechie, you're going to get a bunch of PT, a bunch of playing time. If the Jets like what they see, here's the unique thing about John Mechie III. So this is a guy, okay, and John Mechie III. Let me give you a little bit of the story of John Mechie III for those who don't know about this talented wide receiver and what the Jets are sort of getting here in the young man is that John Mechie III is 25. He was the 44th overall pick in the 2nd round of the 2022 NFL Draft. He is scheduled to be a restricted free agent after this season. Now, normally, when your rookie contract expires, you're an unrestricted free agent. Well, there's a unique case here with John Mechie III. He was drafted by the Houston Texans, I mentioned, in 2022. He was a 2nd-round draft choice. And a couple months into being drafted over the summer of 2022, John Mechie III announced that he's battling leukemia, cancer. And he was forced to miss his entire rookie season. So he's placed on the NFI list. That's the non-football injury illness list. So because of that unique situation, John Mechie III is set to be a restricted free agent after this year, which again goes back to the Jets here. So you get a half-season rental of John Mechie III. All right, interesting. And then if he looks anything decent, anything that you want to develop, you could get him for dirt cheap as a restricted free agent. So this is a win-win trade for the Jets. Again, I can't promise you, I can't guarantee you what John Mechie III is going to be. But what I can tell you is we have a lot of playing time available at wide receiver. This is an incredibly young guy at 25 years of age, former highly drafted guy from a prominent school at Alabama where he had a lot of success. Now, in his career in the NFL, he hasn't done a lot. He's appeared in 36 games. He's made 3 starts. He has 44 catches for 430 yards and a touchdown. But in college, you saw that hoopla, right? In college, he had 155 catches for 2,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. His final collegiate season, he set new career highs in catches, yards, and touchdowns with 96 catches, 1,100 yards, and 8 touchdowns. So there isn't a lot of intriguing talent here of why he was a 2nd-round pick in the first place. So to me, I think this was sort of a win-win for everybody. A win-win for everybody. Okay. Let me throw this up here. Michael Carter II had a message for Jet fans. New York, and this is minutes after the trade. Quote, New York, I'm forever grateful you changed my life. So much love to all my dogs in the building. Greatness is on the way. And I want to say this. Everything doesn't have to be a terrible divorce, right? You know, a lot of, I'm not friends with a lot of my ex-girlfriends, right? We had a relationship and then it ends horribly. One side or the other wants to break up and it just doesn't, it's not good. We're not sending each other Christmas cards anymore, to put it bluntly. But just because the Jets part ways with a player doesn't mean it always has to be a nasty divorce here. I got no ill will towards MC2. Zero. Zip and pip. I got no ill will towards MC2. This is a guy who is a great Jets draft success story, at least for a piece of time. He's drafted in the 5th round. He was a safety in college at Duke. Jets convert him to a nickel defender, and he becomes the best slot defender in the league and gets paid, based on that. MC2 was terrific. The numbers were great. And what a great success and development story for the Jets. And then, unfortunately, 13 months ago is, by the way, when the Jets made him the highest paid nickel corner in football. He got injured last year, and it was a bunch of injuries. The Jets tried to play him through it. It didn't work out. Last year was a disaster for injuries. This year, scheme change. New coaching staff comes in for old MC2. So, all of a sudden, MC2 and this new scheme, it's not vibing. And then he had the injuries last year. He has a few injuries this year. And it doesn't work out. Then Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Jets trade for him, takes MC2's job, and the rest is history. So, again, I don't think everything has to be a bad divorce. To me, no ill will whatsoever. I'm rooting for MC2. I hope he kills it. And let's be honest, it works out great for the Eagles or for MC2, right? Right now, let's pretend this trade didn't happen, right? Let's go to yesterday or 2 days ago, excuse me, right? MC2 is on a 1-7 Jets team that ain't making the playoffs. Now, he's on a first-place 6-2 NFC East leading Super Bowl defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. Not too shabby, Michael Carter. Not too shabby at all. He goes to a better team. It's got championship aspirations. He has playing time. He was benched here. He wasn't playing here, man. MC2 was on the bench. He played 8 snaps in week 8. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. was starting over him. So now he goes to a better team, better record, going to the playoffs, defending Super Bowl champs, have a great chance to win the Super Bowl. They're one of the betting favorites to win the whole thing. And he's going to have playing time. He's going to be a starter with Philadelphia, right there in the slot. Cooper DeJean's probably going to bounce outside at corner. So, to me, this worked out great for MC2. He's got a chance to, jolt his entire NFL career. Good for MC2. Good for him, man. Good for him. And for the Jets, like I said, you save some cap space, you get a better draft pick, and then you get a wide receiver to kick the tires on. It sounds like a win to me. I know there are some people complaining about the value of, we only got a late pick swap. We got a random receiver that's considered a quote-unquote throw-in this deal. Folks, I don't know what you expected to get from Michael Carter II. This is a guy who was benched by the Jets. Benched. This is a guy that has an exorbitant salary. Now, it's going to work out. MC2 did some things to make it more palatable for the Philadelphia Eagles. But he had a big salary. He was benched. And everyone in the league sort of knew, the Jets don't value this guy very highly. So his trade value, i.e., dropped significantly for the Jets. So I'm not upset about the draft value or anything at all. I think it works out. Again, it's sad. It's sad that 13 months ago we were all cheering and like, yeah, MC2, way to get paid. Yeah, homegrown guy. So that part's sad for sure. That part's sad. But again, I'm rooting for him. So good luck to MC2. No ill will on my part. I don't know if there is among Jet fans, but I saw a lot of nice things being said yesterday. And good for you, man. Now let's see what John Mechie III can do. And I'll be curious to see that process. I don't know if the Jets are done, but that's the one trade I felt pretty dang good. If I was a betting man, and sometimes I dabble, if I was a betting man, that was the one move I thought was going to happen. And it did. So there you go. Michael Carter II, no longer a part of this roster. We'll see who's next. I listened to Connor Hughes' report last night. He joined Honda Sports Night. That's an SNY digital television product. And they asked him, hey, Connor, is there any moves that can be made? And he said the one to keep an eye out for apparently is Quincy Williams. Quincy Williams, and the team to watch is the San Francisco 49ers. So that is the move to watch, apparently, according to Connor Hughes, is that a potential trade to replace Fred Warner in San Francisco is Quincy Williams in San Francisco. So keep an eye out for that. We'll see if that happens here in the coming days. Trade deadline is Tuesday, November 4th. Tomorrow is Halloween. So we will see. Let's get into some of your comments here in the chat. Let's see. Well, what are you crazy people saying out here in the comment section? Make sure you guys like the video, by the way. Got 300 people watching, over 100 on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that like button on YouTube, baby. Don't be afraid of it. Give it a gentle kiss, okay? Hit that like button. 30 likes, but over 120 people in the room. That math don't math, people. Like that video right now on YouTube. Hey, you. Yeah, you. No, not you. You. Like that video. Girls, guys, all you guys. Come on now. All y'all. Make sure you guys like the video. Let's go. Show your support for the channel. We're live every single day at 7:30 in the morning. We'll also be live several times today. At 3 o'clock, we got Boy Green meets Woody. Shout out to Macho Talk Sports. He'll be joining me, Woody. We'll be talking about these trades and other trades to come, perhaps. And so there's a lot happening there. We'll keep you guys posted. But we got more coming up at 3 o'clock. Let me see. Did I miss any super chats? I don't think so. So, okay, let's get to some of your questions. M. Vallette predicts All-Pro Quincy stays. Maybe. Hey, this is another one. This one's tougher, of course, because Quincy's actually playing. He wasn't benched like MC2. I like Quincy, man. I like Quincy a lot. I like his celebration. I like his moxie. I like his vibe. I like Quincy a lot. But it just feels like that Quincy's on borrowed time. That's just what my gut says. Because the Jets paid Jamian Sherwood. They made their choice. And not that it was a wrong choice. Jamian's much younger. At the time, that it's not a wrong choice. It seems like a different choice now based on what we've seen. But, there's a lot of time left. But when they paid Jamian Sherwood $45 million, $30 million guaranteed, making him a top 5 highest paid linebacker in football, I immediately went, ooh, what does that mean for Quincy, who's getting older, and he's due some money. And, I think Quincy could be the next one to go. Especially what Connor Hughes just said, too. Let me see. Yeah. I mean, Alon just said the same thing. One Sherwood signed, Quincy was on borrowed time. Yes. It sort of felt that way. Someone else just had something on NC Green. What are we getting for Quincy? A 6th? Oh. It could be one of those pick swap situations where Jets do something like Quincy in a 7th for a 49ers 5th. Maybe you could bump that and go like a Jets conditional 7th or 6th for a 4th. Maybe. I mean, something like that. I mean, again, the 2 picks the Jets are missing in their draft treasure chest is a 3rd and a 5th. A 3rd they're missing from the Hassan Reddick deal, and they're missing a 5th because they traded up for Tyler Barron, who's been a disaster. So if you could replace either of those, that would be beneficial. Now, here's the thing, I think old Yank was talking about it, is that Quincy was, he was a little rusty against the Bengals, but he was around the ball a lot. And obviously he would help the Jets this year for sure by playing. But he just, unless he's taken a massive hometown discount, and I don't know Quincy. I've never had him on the show. We follow each other on social media, but we haven't really, outside of light social media interactions, I don't know him. So I would imagine, though, that Quincy wants to get paid. And I don't blame him for wanting to get paid. He took a nice deal, which ended up very much working in the Jets' favor when he took the 3-year deal for $18 million, $6 million per, and then he became a first-team All-Pro, and the Jets got the steal of steals. And then he saw Jamian making triple the money he was, and I'm sure he's like, what the hell? So I'm sure Quincy wants to get paid. Only one team in the National Football League pays 2 off-ball linebackers $10 million or more per season. That is the Chicago Bears. And that is Tremaine Edmonds and, oh my God, the other linebacker's name's escaping me for a second. I'll definitely pull that up. But the name's going to hit me right even before I look. Who's the other Chicago Bear I'm missing? TJ Edwards. That's the other one. So the Bears are the only team in the National Football League that pays 2 off-ball linebackers $10 million or more per season. Only team in the NFL. Only one. And here's the spoiler alert. Quincy's going to want a lot more than $10 million. TJ Edwards making $10 million per year. Tremaine's making much more. But TJ's making 10. Quincy's going to want at least what Jamian got, but probably more than that too. And I don't know if a team's going to be willing to pay considering his age, but that's what he's going to want. And again, if Quinnen stays, does that make Quincy go, well, I want to play with my brother? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of moving, parts behind the scenes on that front. But yeah, I mean, for Quincy, maybe there's a combo pick platter. Maybe you could get a straight up fifth, maybe, with no extracurricular activity. And then maybe you could work it in where you could pair a pick to move up a little bit. I mean, that could be possible. But yeah, according to Connor Hughes, it looks like he is the next one to go. But we'll get some more details on that shortly. Folks, we got a special guest. I promised we'd have a special guest right around here at 8 o'clock, and we do. We'll also open up the phone lines, in a little bit. And there's no better guy to talk about this trade who's got all kinds of insights on all sides. So let's bring him in. He is the beat reporter for JetsXFactor.com, and he is the face of the franchise for the Riverdale Press. Let's bring him in. It's Nick Faria, baby, this morning. Good morning, Nick.
Morning. How's everything going, Paul?
Excellent. You're looking very dapper this morning. I like what you put together.
Yeah, I like to, try it around here and there. That look good some days, that kind of thing.
I like that. And what is that? Autumn leaves behind you? That's a nice touch.
That is 100% my wife. She is the designer of the two of us, and
nice. Okay.
She does a very good job of getting the seasons right, per se, once decorating comes around.
All right, Mrs. Faria. Keep it classy, baby. I like what we're doing back there. Very nice. All right, well, Nick, let's get down to it. The brass tacks here. Jets and Eagles struck a trade, and the Jets moving Michael Carter II did not surprise me. He felt like the guy of all the guys we're talking about. It just made sense. He got benched. He had the contract. It seemed inevitable the Jets are going to move on in some form or fashion, so trading him certainly made sense. You can give us the Philadelphia Eagles perspective here. So, again, the trade ultimately is a 7th and MC2 to the Eagles for John Mechie the third and a 6th. Give us the full breakdown here.
All right, so it's good. It's going to be a long one. So preparing everyone right now.
Sure.
Let's start with the Jets. First off, they needed to get out of Michael Carter's contract. They were going to get out of Michael Carter's contract. The only question is when and not if. Most likely, they were going to cut him in the offseason anyway. They love what they have in Jarvis Brownlee. This is more about scheme fit than the actual player. Carter is still a young player. Yes, he's been dealing with injuries for the last couple of years, but when he's fully healthy, he can be a very good slot cornerback in this league. The problem is that we don't know if he can get back to that point moving forward, particularly in a defensive scheme like the Jets or even potentially like Philadelphia for that matter. So in that way, any team that bit on Michael Carter in a particular trade would be a win for the Jets. It didn't matter what the compensation was. It didn't matter the player they got back. It just made sense for the Jets to move on from his contract and from him as a player, because the minute Jarvis Brownlee played that game in Denver or played that game in London against Denver, the writing was on the wall. They were not going to bring him back. They love what they have in Brownlee. They love what they have in the secondary right now, and for good reason when that secondary is fully healthy. So that's the Jets side. The other point that I will throw in is John Mechie has never really gotten a fair shake to be a competent and consistent receiver in an offense. People will look at Houston and look at all the injuries that he had to deal with, and then they say, well, Nick, he only had 4 catches in Philadelphia. Well, if you look at how their offense is structured, I'm not giving the ball to John Mechie when I have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Saquon Barkley. I'm sorry. He's not getting touches in that offense. And he was never going to. It was more of just making sure that you had a 4th or 5th role player ready to go in case one of the big guys went down. So getting in Mechie, a young prospect, a very good high upside prospect, to potentially help bolster this receiving core, which has been anemic for the most part this season, all of that made sense. I thought that was a nice throw in. It doesn't really change much, but the big crux of the deal is the fact that they got out of the Michael Carter deal. Now, for Philadelphia, and I do think that this is important because this is important for the Jets to understand, Philadelphia has had an issue in the secondary all year. The minute they traded Darius Slay in the offseason or released him, they cut him, starting cornerback on a Super Bowl team, and they wanted to get younger. They said, let's see what we have in Keely Ringo. Let's see if Adoree Jackson beats him out. They traded for this other guy from the Raiders. All these guys, Jacorian Bennett, Ringo, and Jackson. None of them have stepped up to the first half of the season. So they have a massive cornerback problem. Now, Cooper DeJean is a slot cornerback extraordinaire. I would argue he's better than Michael Carter was even at the height of his career, just a year and a half in. But DeJean also has experience playing outside cornerback and safety. So they want to use him as a Swiss Army knife. If they were to put him outside, that would essentially stunt the growth and flexibility that you could have with DeJean playing all over the field. By bringing in Michael Carter, and I think this is probably one of the more shocking moves that I've seen from Howie Roseman. I understand that people have tied Carter to Philadelphia for weeks now. It's not what I'm saying. But Carter is injury prone. Carter has not played well over the last couple of years in the slot. And now with his arrival, the Eagles are essentially saying, this is our slot cornerback, and we'll be comfortable moving Cooper DeJean outside on a full-time basis. That goes against what Vic Fangio wants. That goes against what the Eagles have historically done. So the way that I look at it, the Jets got someone, arguably the best general manager in football, to bite on a player they did not want, they did not value, for a receiver that they could value and could want, who they will have an extra year of control, particularly because he's an RFA after this offseason. I don't think there's going to be someone putting in a claim for John Mechie after this offseason. So they get a receiver, they swap draft picks, and they get out of a massive contract hole that Michael Carter had, all for the price of really pennies on the dollar. And I think overall that is a massive Jets win to begin with. I'm surprised Philadelphia went this route, particularly with a slot cornerback over an outside cornerback. We'll see how it works out. We'll see how Vic Fangio uses him. But I thought this was a very impressive deal from Darren Mushi. And again, another example of this Jets general manager not being the sort of waste of a hire that many people thought when people thought that Aaron Glenn was running the show and not Darren Mushi.
So, Nick, did I read correctly? Even you sort of just hinted at it there, but let me see if I can get you to say it again. Did you say this is a rare Howie loss?
Oh, absolutely. And again, this is not, okay, well, the Eagles are not going to be Super Bowl contenders because of that. That's not what I'm saying. They're going to be fine whether Michael Carter plays well or not. You trust in Vic Fangio to be able to figure it out, and he historically has. But the way that I look at what Philadelphia is about, Vic Fangio on Tuesday was asked about Cooper DeJean potentially moving outside. And he said, essentially, I don't want to do it. He's too good of a player to sort of pencil in outside. And the thought is, okay, well, they're going to go after an outside cornerback then. They're going to try to go after someone who can play consistently on the outside and play at a high level. That makes a lot of sense. But the trade for Michael Carter essentially kind of goes against it. And I will say that there's no way in hell Vic Fangio did not sign off on this with a deal of this magnitude with a player like this. When healthy, Carter can be really good. But we haven't seen him be healthy, and we haven't seen him be effective in the last couple of years. So Philadelphia has essentially brought in a player rental for a position they desperately need, and are now going to have to rearrange the decks of the Titanic, essentially hoping that will fix some of their past defensive woes. And I just don't see that happening with a player like Carter. I watched him in training camp. I've watched him in the first 8 weeks of the season. He's not played well. And that's the one thing I've kind of argued with a few Eagle reporters where, again, I have that unique perspective. I watch the Eagles religiously. I watch the Jets religiously. I have to keep an eye on both and keep a hand in both worlds. This deal to me tells me that Howie Roseman is looking for any solution possible to fix the secondary, but he went after the wrong guy potentially. And the Jets saying, well, we don't have any reason to keep him, and we like a receiver. Give us John Mechie, and we'll get rid of a player we don't value and haven't valued since the beginning of the offseason.
Yeah, works out great. Thank you, Howie Roseman. Appreciate you. And I also appreciate you, Paul Texter. 5-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. You get 5 memberships or more, we have to play a video package, and this is a new one.
Who wanna fly with them? Yeah!
Yeah, there we go, AG. 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Paul Taxter, you also earned yourself 5 more raffle tickets. You're at 21 raffle tickets so far this month. These 5 went to Deshaun Diol, Enoch Forte, Nate A., Kevin Risco, Dan Hops. You guys are all now members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Make sure you tip your waiter, Paul Taxter. Very nice efforts there. I just want to do one more thing on this trade here, Nick, and it's on the John Mechie element. And I find it very interesting. I hear a lot of people, I'm reading other people grading the trade and saying things like, John Mechie, a random throw into the trade, and things of that nature. But I just look at the Jets wide receiver room. Josh Reynolds out for a month. Garrett Wilson, we hope, is back after the bye, but we don't know for sure. And then you have Al Lazard, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith, Isaiah Williams. And by the way, some of those played very well in Cincinnati, so salute. But man, John Mechie, if he can pick up the playbook quick, is going to get a ton of playing time. This is a half season of, hey, John Mechie, show us what you got. You mentioned that the Eagles preferred to throw to A.J. Brown over John Mechie. Okay, all right, if that's a decision you want to make over there in Philly, so be it. All right, but John Mechie over here is going to get a lot of rock, and the Jets will get a full evaluation, and then he's a restricted free agent after the year, so you can probably bring him back for dirt cheap if there's anything you like through this final 8-9 games of the season. So this feels like a pretty cool trial for John Mechie to finally get a shot and get reps and opportunities thrown at him, and a nice upside play here for the Jets. What's to lose? If he stinks, okay, you move on from him after the year. If he's good, wow, you just found a nice young little receiver to develop.
Sure, but I just want to emphasize the point that this is all about getting out of the Michael Carter deal.
Right.
And I think that's where people need to look at it from that perspective. It is not the Jets won the trade because John Mechie is better than Michael Carter. That's not what I'm saying. It is all about getting out of Michael Carter's contract and allowing yourself some flexibility moving forward, not just in 2025, but in 2026 and 2027, where you do not have to worry about paying a slot cornerback $10 to $15 million per year. You don't have to worry about that anymore. That is why the Jets win that particular deal, because I don't believe, and I'm very skeptical of Michael Carter coming into Philadelphia and having a positive impact on a team that runs a very complex defensive scheme. There's going to be breakdowns, just as there were for the Jets with Michael Carter playing earlier in the year. So I think there's legitimate concern there for Philadelphia's secondary. And again, with Mechie, I don't believe he's gotten a fair shot. I think some of the health concerns in Houston kind of stunted his growth, and then in Philadelphia, I look at it this way: any receiver that's arguing for targets whose name is not A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, you are going to fight a losing battle, and rightfully so, because you have all pros and Pro Bowl players at every single position. And under no circumstances, as an Eagles fan, would I want Jalen Hurts targeting John Mechie when A.J. Brown is open or Devontae Smith is open. It's not conducive to success. So you give him to a team like the Jets, who have absolutely no consistent and competent receiver right now, healthy on the roster. Obviously, when Garrett Wilson is there, he'll be able to take that spot. But finding a number 2 receiver after this season will be of importance, because I think we all expect the Jets to be drafting a quarterback in the first round, whether it's Matier, whether it's Ty Simpson, whether it's Mendoza. They're going to draft a quarterback, and they are going to need a number 2 wide receiver. They may not have needed it this year with Justin Fields, because as we've talked about, Justin Fields does not target number 2 receivers, and we have been proven right by that all season. So it's just a matter of finding a competent player who could gel quickly, learn the offense quickly enough, and potentially just do anything of value for the final 9 weeks.
All right, let's go to this question from Old Yank. And essentially the question is this: what kind of cap savings did we get from this move? You mentioned the Jets got out from under it, but what does that mean for this year? What does that mean potentially for next year? What's the cap savings here?
So I believe it's like $2.2 million that they saved with this deal. It was always going to be a lower cap savings in general. But you look at the overall cap hits and you look at the overall salaries, and they are now off the books for $22 million. I believe it's $10 million this year, $12 million the next year. Okay. That's not Trump change. That is significant. That is significant cash going to a slot cornerback. And again, when the Jets signed that extension with Michael Carter, it was the right move. He played and was one of the best slot cornerbacks in the NFL. Unfortunately, injuries and ineffective play have rendered that contract an overpay at this point. And that's how this goes. You can make the smart move by re-signing your young players and re-signing your young talent. But then if the players do not actually perform up to that contract, then you have a situation like this. So this is all about just making sure that $22 million is off the books for 2026 and 2027, and putting yourself in strong cap financial health for the future moving forward, where you can solve some of your pass rushing issues and some of your receiver issues and those kind of concerns.
All right, Nick, I'm going to throw this at you, and you either put on the aluminum foil on your head like I did earlier, or you say I'm an idiot. So you have two choices here, okay? So the Jets worked out multiple quarterbacks yesterday during their bye week. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a guy you gave us a heads up on a bunch of months ago, you said, hey, keep an eye on him. Eagles, Jets, could make sense. And Desmond Ridder, they worked out both of those yesterday. Okay, so two things to me are possible based on this news. Number one, the Jets are just doing their due diligence, emergency quarterback list. They're updating that list, whatever, and that's all they're doing. Or, okay, now this is the aluminum foil on the head that I was saying earlier. Is Tyrod Taylor's knee injury more serious than what's being led on? That would make a lot of sense if the Jets are looking at options, because if Tyrod is more hurt than we think, then instead of going Justin Fields, Brady Cook, the Jets would be exploring what other options are out there to add another quarterback to the room here. So where are we? Are we in conspiracy land? You're jumping on the train with me, or am I an idiot and they're just updating their emergency list?
Why can't it be both? Seriously, why can't it be both? And I think that's where the Jets are at. They want to make sure where if Tyrod Taylor's knee injury is a little more serious and he wouldn't be ready to go after the bye week, they have a competent backup quarterback who can run the offense that Justin Fields runs. And again, they brought in two quarterbacks who run the kind of offense Justin Fields can run. And I said it in training camp that DTR would be a logical fit for this team as a third quarterback because he runs the same offense. He's a scrambler. He's a one read and go kind of guy. He's not someone who's going to step up in the pocket and make a deep throw. He's not someone who's going to read a defense. It's one read and go, plain and simple, which is, of course, the MO of Justin Fields in his entire career in the NFL. So I do believe that it has everything to do with protecting themselves in case Tyrod Taylor is not ready to go. But I also think it's important to, bring in quarterbacks and bring in players to work out where if a situation happens where Fields got hurt or if Tyrod got hurt in relief of him, whatever that is, they know that they can trust a quarterback or two on the open market to be potentially target moving forward into the later portion of the season.
So I'm both an idiot and I could be right. Interesting. My fiance says the same thing. We're here with Nick Faria, our beat reporter from JetsXFactor.com and also a leading man in the Play the Riverdale Press. We love it always here with Nick Faria joining us here on the program. Nick, what's the next move to happen here for the Jets? Are they done? Was this just a one and done thing, a little chew and screw action here, or are they going to dabble ahead of the trade deadline?
I put out an article about Breece Hall, and I keep going back and forth on it.
Yeah.
You don't trade away good players, but when it comes to Breece Hall, do you really want to give him a contract extension worth $10+ million? I continue to compare it to kind of the James Cook contract. He has been nowhere near as consistent as James Cook has been for the Buffalo Bills, and Cook got $13 million. Is Breece Hall going to get that on the open market? Probably not. I think it would be the best situation possible for the Jets to put him on the franchise tag. But even then, the franchise tag for next season for a running back is around $13 million. So we're
even more than that. It projected over the cap has it at $14.14 million.
The crux of it is we're kind of looking at this in the perspective of, do you want Breece Hall for $13 million a year annually, or do you want him for one season at 14? And if you do not, and there are going to be some fans who do not, and that's perfectly fine, then you're going to potentially look to trade him over the next few days. But I will say, and I think this is very, very important, we have heard every freaking name under the sun in trade talks. The sources around the league say that Trey Hendrickson could be moved. Sources around the league say A.J. Brown could be moved. The sources around the league say Breece Hall could be moved. And every single time the team comes out and says, yeah, no, we're not trading him. No, he's part of our team. No, we like what we have in him. The one difference I will say is probably Michael Carter. Because when I asked Aaron Glenn about this just a couple of weeks ago, hey, Jason Browley's playing well, Carter's coming back. Are you going to split reps? And he said, yeah, we're going to split reps. And 2 weeks later, Carter's been shipped off to Philadelphia. So there are instances like that, but you do not trade good players. And that is a lesson that I've seen Philadelphia take. That is a lesson I've seen every major contender take. If you have a good player, you keep him on the roster. Now, in terms of overall value, paying a running back $14 million a year who has not shown that he can be a top 3 running back among the top 3 running backs in the league, that's not exactly good value allocation. So it's kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. The Jets could absolutely trade Breece Hall over the next couple of days, but if you're not getting fair compensation for him, compensation that you would get if he hits the open market this offseason, then it doesn't really make much sense to ship him off right now. I continuously look at, if you are the Jets and you are trying to have a fire sale, I continue to look at Quincy Williams, who I am a firm believer that he is not part of the long-term plan for this franchise. And the reason why I say that is because, first, Kiko Maigoa has played very, very well in relief. He's been a lot better than I thought he would ever play in his rookie season. He does not look overwhelmed. He's beat a couple times in coverage, as to be expected for a late-round linebacker, but he's played a lot better than I think people give him credit for. And Jamian Sherwood has been given a, $15, $17 million per year contract, 3-year, $45 million. So he's not going anywhere. No team in the NFL and NFL history has paid 2 linebackers over $10 million a year. That is crazy salary cap allocation. And I do think Quincy Williams is probably the better linebacker, but he's also older. He's also been dealing with some injuries. So I think if there's a player to be moved, it's probably Quincy Williams, because he's not in the long-term future plans of this team from a financial standpoint. I'm not talking about the player. He's a very good player. But from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense to pay 2 linebackers over $10 million, and you already have paid one of them. You've already drafted another who's played well. That's kind of the line of succession is kind of already there for the Jets, and it just makes sense to potentially move Quincy Williams. If there's any trade to be had, and I'm not saying there will be, I think it's probably for Quincy.
All right. I'm going to propose you something that I ask my fiance all the time, and she rolls her eyes. Okay. So I'm going to throw something at you. Okay. So Quincy Williams, you think that could be a trade that happens. All right. I'm going to give you a scale of 1 to 10. 10, it's 100% happening. 1, it's absolutely not happening. And 5, maybe 50-50. Where do you put the scale of the likelihood of Quincy Williams being traded ahead of this deadline? Again, my fiance hates this and refuses to answer. But you're not my fiance, Nick, so you can't refuse this. So give me an answer.
4 or 5, I would say. I think it's a possibility. I'm not going to put all my money on it because, again, as I said at the beginning of my point, all these players have been thrown in trade talks. Oh, the Jets have been shot. You could potentially move on from Quinnen Williams, but they need a first-round pick for him. Some teams think only a second-round pick will do it.
So, do you have any sources you want to share on the show, Nick? Is there anything you'd like to?
But you hear it from everyone, and I think that's the main crux of it. All these national guys are saying these players could be available because outside sources around the league question it. And essentially what that is throwing a dangly piece of meat at fans and saying, look, trade deadline news. But every single year, and very rarely does this happen, but most years we are looking at the trade deadline and saying, well, that sucked. What the hell is this? Well, there's nothing here. There are some differences. Amari Cooper going from the Raiders to the Cowboys was certainly a big one. You look at Philadelphia acquiring Jay Ajayi on their Super Bowl run in 2017. There are some examples of really good players being shipped. But by and large, the trade deadline in the NFL is a dud. And it has been, and it's consistently been for the most part. You can throw every big name you want. You can throw Quinnen in there. You can throw Breece Hall. You can throw A.J. Brown. You can throw Jay Hendrickson. You can throw anyone you want. That doesn't mean they're getting moved. And I think that's the important piece here because a lot of teams want to see what they have in their young players. And for the most part, these rebuilding teams who like some of their young players who a lot of people speculate could potentially trade, they look at it and say, well, okay, if we're going to get rid of them, we want top billing for them. We're not giving away Breece Hall for a 5th or a 6th round pick. We want a 3rd or a 4th, that kind of thing. And other teams are going to say, well, that's an outrageous price. And that's exactly why nothing really happens.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me too, which I love, and I appreciate you, Nick, shooting us straight here. You know, we're getting all dragged around outside of these Boy Green Daily walls. Nick Faria, straight shooter. He's letting you know what's really going on. We got 400 people in the room. 150 of those 400 are watching on YouTube. Guys, like the video, hit subscribe. Also, continue to send in your super chat questions and comments for a guy Nick Faria. Because up next, your phone calls, and we'll take a quick half time out. We'll answer your phone calls next ahead of the NFL trade deadline. All that more coming up here on BGD.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! Boy Green, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone, J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets. Boy Green, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go!
No one can see me while that camera's, the video's playing, but I'm doing like a little jig back here when that song's playing. And so no one can see me, but just envision it in your mind. If you ever wanted to, wait a second, think about me dancing. You know what? Never mind. Take that from your mind immediately. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'll tell you this. The phone lines are now open. That's a pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. We'll be with you guys for about another 20 minutes. So, guys, send in your questions, comments, everything in between, and we'll take them on the program. Speaking of, let's go to the Hepster here on the program. Hep, good morning.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Nick. Quick question. What's going on with Sherwood? And did we pay the wrong linebacker? And is there any possibility of trading Sherwood and keep signing Quincy? That's all.
Okay. I like that. So appreciate it. And he'll answer them. So let's go piece by piece. So, Nick, I don't know if you've been able to scoopage this or has anyone. Jamin Sherwood misses the entire first quarter against the Bengals. Some people have questioned that's normally a discipline style thing, like missing a meeting. Others have said he stunk and it's accountability. And AG said, hey, Cap, sit your ass on the bench and then you can come back to the second quarter. What's the truth there?
Well, I don't think it's anything about a player stinking, because I do think Sherwood, the last two games, probably played his best football. Played really, really well against Carolina. He played really well against Denver. The defense itself played well, and you thought that they were getting in the right spots and starting to show improvements. It took a step back, of course, against Cincinnati, and we don't know exactly the specifics of why he sat out for that first quarter. Aaron Glenn was kind of quiet. We're probably not going to get an answer until we speak to some of those players next week as they prepare for Cleveland. So I don't have an answer yet in terms of that, and that's important to bring up. The other points to this question is, did we pay the wrong linebacker? No, I don't think you did, because if you're building a team and you are trying to build a team the right way, you look at what Jamin Sherwood is at 24, 25 years old, and you look at what Quincy Williams is at 28 and 29, and you ask yourself, who has the better chance of being really, really good in 3 to 4 years? And the answer, of course, is Jamin Sherwood, because linebackers do tend to hit a wall at the age of 30. The game speeds up, and it's very hard for them to maintain quality play without having that kind of speed. So I think father time comes for everyone. And I think for Quincy Williams, it would be logical for the team to move on from him after this offseason to begin with. And the other side, of course, is the fact that Jamin Sherwood, I don't think anyone really predicted he'd have this much of a struggle to begin the season. But I also think we need to acknowledge the loss of C.J. Mosley. Sherwood is still a very young player, and he's an ascending player. And I do think this year has been a very big lesson for him because he's a captain and he's a leader. He wasn't in that situation last year, nor has he been in the National Football League. So this is a brand new situation for him that he's got to figure out, and he's traversing through. The Jets are confident he'll figure it out. Jamin Sherwood's confident he'll figure it out. This isn't a case of buyer's remorse where you're giving the young player the contract and he did nothing the first year, and he's going to stink the rest of the way. I'm a firm believer that this is still a really good linebacker learning a new scheme, and that takes time. It just does naturally. So the question of should they have paid Quincy over Sherwood, that's not for me to say, because if you're a team building out a young roster, you go and value the younger players over the older guys. That's just logic and football building 101.
Yeah, and on the last point that he says, I can say this with 100% certainty because we had Jeremy Fowler on so I guess that would be this offseason, just a bunch of months ago, and I was like, hey, like who I think we're talking off air, and I say, who's the Jets player like heading into free agency like that is going, and he said my phone's been blowing up about Jamin Sherwood, and he used the term the teams were salivating that they let him hit the open market because he is going to get swiped up and we'll see what the money was going to be. I'm like, oh, wow, interesting. Now, the Jets, last second, they lock it in, so that opportunity never happened. So to the last part of what Heb says, would there be any way, because if all those teams were interested a couple months ago, I imagine they'd still be interested, that they sort of jump out of the contract, trade him off, and then pay Quincy or something? Is there any chance of that happening?
I would be stunned if that was the case, because it would set a very bad precedent for players on this team, where even if you have a good run and you're a leader, they can still trade you if you don't do X, Y, and Z. Particularly as, like I said, this is his first year in this new scheme, first year as a leader. He's learning a lot of new things in real time. So I do think there needs to be some grace. There needs to be some patience there, as there are for a lot of these young players on this team. I think a lot of teams would love to try to trade for Jamin Sherwood, but I don't think the Jets would be smart in potentially shopping him just because he's struggled to begin the season. A lot can happen in the final 9 weeks.
100%. And to your point, I mean, it's just so new. It would feel very abrupt to just, voted team captain. He was the first move that Aaron Glenn and Darren Mucci made. People forget about that because Sauce and Garrett got paid later, and that's the big ticket item. But Jamie got paid first. So that was their first big, tone-setting move outside of moving on from Aaron Rodgers that will define this organization. Let's go to the phone lines. Troy Sturgis up next. What's up, Troy?
Hey, BJ. Good morning. Nick, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hey, I was thinking, Nick, was you stunned whenever you guys got Michael Carter?
I wasn't stunned, but I will say I thought it was a miss by Howie. I'll just put it that way. And this isn't me saying that Howie Roseman needs to be fired or he's a terrible GM. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is naturally, I think Roseman at times gets himself into a little bit of trouble when he starts throwing too many gambles and too many times trying to go up to the Yahtzee table and rolling 2 dice. It's just a matter of perspective. I know Joe Douglas being there certainly can help facilitate that. But with Vic Fangio saying he didn't want to move Cooper DeJean to the outside, it doesn't make much sense to bring in a slot cornerback, does it?
No, not really. And I believe actually it could be a better fit for Michael Carter.
Oh, certainly. They're more zone heavy than the Jets are.
Right, and that's how solid the defense was. So anyway, I was just kicking this around. If they don't get the right offer for Brees, do you believe that Michael Carter contract could actually come to Brees and JJ?
Oh, interesting.
It's not how it works in the NFL, because you don't just, okay, we're going to give you the same exact money we could have given there. I do think that Jermaine Johnson, very clearly from my conversation with him a couple of weeks ago, he is part of the long-term building plan for the Jets. They really like what they've seen out of him. The sacks aren't necessarily there, which is an issue, but that's an issue for the entire defensive line. It's not just for him. So the way that I look at it, the way that I see the Jets sort of building this team out, they love what they have in Jermaine Johnson. They really like what they have in Breece Hall. But the question is, do you get the right value if you're shipping off the running back? They're not giving him away for a 5th-round pick like some people expect. And it wouldn't make much sense to do that as well, because when healthy, Breece Hall could be very, very good. I think a 4th and a 3rd-round pick is more than fair. But again, if the Jets say, no, we value him as a set 3rd-round pick, no one's going to really want to give that up for a running back who hasn't been healthy for his entire career.
Well, knowing what they going to gain back in the cap space for next year, I think they may end up actually signing before the end of the year, maybe both of them.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun. Troy, thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate it. I got a super chat in here from EZ.
Wow.
Oh, I see. EZ with a $2 super chat here. Nice mask, BG. Halloween is tomorrow. LOL. Oh, great. I'm ugly. Now, let me tell you this, EZ. All right? I've got a face for radio. And I recently, 5 years ago, made the change to YouTube. Okay? So we started audio. Now we're video. So you just have to either, I mean, we're still available as an audio only podcast if you prefer, you bastard. But I will be dressing up for Halloween tomorrow, getting the spirit. So I appreciate that, EZ. Thank you very much for the comment. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. OG Jets fan, 1985. Tommy.
And Paul, Nick, how are you?
Good Lord.
The wind just kicked up. The wind just kicked up where I'm at.
You're in a windstorm. All right, hold something near.
Hey guys, good morning.
Okay,
I was having a great morning until like somebody almost tried to. A woman was walking across the street with her kid, and I'm walking across. There's a walk sign. This guy's trying to fly by and almost hit us.
Jesus.
And he thought he was right. I'm like, look at the walk sign, bro. Like it's you have to stop for pedestrians when there's a walk sign. That's how you learn in New York when to walk, when not to walk. And he thought he was right. But anyway,
yeah, anyway, those two are the worst.
Yeah, horrible. Besides that, Nick, like you guys kind of said it. Michael Carter the third, second. I always call him the third. He's the second.
Hey, his son too. His son got traded. Yeah, he's got two.
Yeah. I think it was a great trade for the Jets because they were getting rid of him, like you said. Anyway, after this year, like Brownlee replaced him. So to pick up a wide receiver, I guarantee the guy's no worse than Josh Reynolds. I mean. Let's move in the right direction. I like that. And my only real point, and I'll be quick. Listen, I don't want to trade Breece Hall for no 4th or 5th round pick. I don't want to trade JJ. Jets fans have to understand that these guys are elite players. Like they don't just fall off trees. If you get a 4th or 5th round pick, people say all the time, "Oh, you could just pick a running back up anywhere." That's not true. Like, do you want a Bilal Powell or do you want a Breece Hall? There's difference. You're playing the lottery with a 4th or 5th round pick. And Breece Hall, if I don't get a 2nd or 3rd, there's no reason to trade him. Same as JJ. Now, the one question thing, if you want to trade Will McDonald, I could see that because he could be like they say, a one-trick pony. And I know that they do need a wide receiver, so that can maybe complement a 2nd or 3rd round pick for a wide receiver after we draft our quarterback next year. But don't get rid of our core pieces. Don't get rid of Breece. Sign him to the franchise. I mean, unless Breece doesn't want to be here. If Breece does not want to be here, that's a different story. If he wants to be here, you get it done, in my opinion. And I'll let you guys feed off of that.
All right, appreciate you. Thanks, Tommy. And don't die, okay? If you could do me a favor there. Don't get struck by a car or the wind carry you away. Either way. Yeah, let's unpack that. The Will McDonald rumors. Connor Hughes said that he believes, from speaking with other teams not named the Jets, that it's around a 2nd or 3rd round pick value if they were to move Will McDonald. A lot of people say he's a one-trick pony, and they have to make a decision, on his 5th-year option in May of this upcoming offseason on his contract, whether they accept it or decline it. What's the latest there? Is that a guy that could be moved? And what's sort of the thought process there?
Again, it comes down to value. What kind of value you're getting for an edge rusher for a team that hasn't really done a good job sacking the quarterback. And people will say, well, that just proves that Will McDonald isn't a good player. But I think it also has a lot to do with scheme in general. They did get hit with a lot of injuries. They did get hit with a decrease in overall talent. And the idea that a one-trick pony does not deserve a contract extension or just a kind of starting caliber contract, I think is very, very wrong. You look at Leonard Floyd, who Will McDonald has been tied to pretty much his entire career. He's carved a pretty nice role for himself, and he gets plenty of money because he can get after the quarterback. The difference with Will McDonald right now is the fact that his sacks usually come in bunches, and they're just not right now. That needs to change, certainly needs to change moving forward. But again, we have 9 weeks to go before the end of the season. I find it very hard to believe that the Jets would give away an edge rusher when edge rusher is probably their biggest defensive need right now. On offense, it's receiver and quarterback that are 2 biggest needs. But on the defense, it's completely at edge rusher. The defensive tackle seems pretty solidified. The secondary now seems solidified. you have no answers right now at the defensive line position at edge rusher, and that needs to be fixed immediately. And quite frankly, giving away Will McDonald for draft picks is not going to help solve that problem.
Yeah, and here's the other thing I don't get, Nick. So second or third round pick, whatever. That's what Connor Hughes believes that the value would be. Man, hearing how many teams need pass rushers in the National Football League, and to potentially get a 20-something-year-old that already has a 10.5 sack season on his ledger, and in theory, playing on one of these contending teams would get to judge. Who cares about the run defense liability issues that people bring up? Hey, buddy, here you get to rush on every third down play, and he'd be maximized. And I imagine he wouldn't be the only one notable on any defense he was sent to. How could you not get even more value? And a bidding war could ensue for his talents. Because to your point, rushing the passer, okay, if you're a one-trick pony, that's a pretty good one trick to have if you're able to do that.
Yes. And I think the prime example is probably Bryce Huff, too, as another player. You look at San Francisco, all the injuries they've had, could they be in the market for Will McDonald because of Robert Saw and everything like that? The way that I look at things at the trade deadline, and it just comes back to value. It always, always will. If you believe that you have the right valuation on your player and teams aren't really giving the kind of compensation worthy of that value, there's no reason to trade him. I mean, the Jets' edge rusher position has been gutted over the last 2 years, and most of it is because of Joe Douglas, I think, managing the cap poorly, bringing in Hassan Reddick, not giving him the kind of deal he wanted, and then trading away John Franklin Myers, who has just been phenomenal with the Denver Broncos. That was a serious, serious miss by the team. Bringing in Carl Lawson and not Trey Hendrickson, even though Carl Lawson was the better player at the time, was a serious miss on their part again. So the mistakes that they have made at edge rusher need to be fixed. And I don't see that getting fixed with Will McDonald getting traded this year. I just don't. I think the pass rush goes from bad to worse if they were to move him.
Fair enough. Let's get another phone call in. Indy Jets is up next here on the show. Indy?
Well, good morning, BG. Nick, how you doing today?
Morning.
Yeah.
Hey, you said that Howie, it might have been a miss for Howie on this on the Carter trade. Do you think Howie just felt bad for what he did to us with Hassan? He's like, look, we'll take him off your hands and we'll give you this receiver and let's swap a pick and there's no hard feelings with how bad we got fleeced with Hassan. Maybe Howie's that good of a guy. You're a Philly guy. Is he that nice of a guy?
He's ruthless, absolutely ruthless.
So that's not the case.
I'm sure he's looking at this deal and saying, we got a top slot cornerback in the NFL, and we're going to use Cooper DeJean like the Ravens use Kyle Hamilton, even with a need at outside corner.
I was trying to spin it in a positive way. So
and again, this is kind of where I'm like, well, why him? Why Michael Carter? If you really wanted a corner, why not just acquire Jarvis Brownlee when the Jets did? Why not just give the Titans a couple of draft picks for that and move on from there in that instance? You need an outside corner. Brownlee can certainly be an outside corner, and he fits what the mold is for Philadelphia. But they chose not to, and now their zone-heavy approach is bringing in a zone-heavy slot corner, and we will see if it works out. I am skeptical because I have seen Michael Carter play for the last 2 years, and it has not been good. It has not been as good as many people want to talk about him as. So I do think that this is a miss by Howie. I think this is kind of an overcorrection at times for trusting in Keely Ringo and signing Adoree Jackson. Again, time will tell. Howie Roseman has made me look like an idiot more times than I can count. It's one of those things that I love to be wrong at. If Michael Carter comes in and solves Philadelphia's pass defense woes, certainly changes a lot about that conversation. I'm skeptical that he'll be able to do it because he doesn't really tackle that well. The coverage grades are awful this season. And if that's the case, and he's 26 years old, maybe that's just who he is right now.
Yeah, and some GMs miss, like but their miss
Always
doesn't hurt near as bad as other GMs' big miss. So I don't think that's it's a win for the Jets. We got him off the books. We moved up maybe 10, 15 spots in the draft, and
Probably
got
more
a
than that,
No,
right?
I wouldn't
Eagles,
say by much. That's
Eagles,
six, I
Jets,
believe.
right? What would
Well,
that be?
yeah, we don't know just yet. Let's wait for
Well,
after the draft.
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, and if it was this year's draft, it would probably be maybe 10 or 15 spots from a
Right, it's 2 years,
from
right?
a
So who
from a
knows?
front end
Right.
7 to a back end 6. It's not it's not a
fair
lot,
enough.
but it's some.
Sure.
And with the trades of the defensive ends, being from Indiana and watching the Colts years back, they had two good defensive ends that didn't start out real hot at the beginning with Freeney and Robert Mathis. If they were going to get rid of those guys, even when they didn't tackle real well. Now their sacks together started to go up. They were both in double digit sacks. Eventually,
Yeah.
And I don't know. And as you said, with the defensive ends, being a hot commodity in the NFL, I just don't see why the Jets would want to move on from either one of them.
Sure.
They already have the need for it. They need edge rusher.
They need more, right?
And just why get rid of the guys you already have on the roster?
I mean, if somebody wants to give me a second for Michael Clemens, I'd probably consider it. I'd consider it.
Yeah.
Consider.
Yeah.
And BG, as far as EZ's comment, you've got your face, you've got the face for radio. According to Badshaw, I've got the voice for newspaper. So there's that.
Wow.
Have a great day,
that.
guys.
So thank you, Indy. Appreciate it. And also, Nick, I want to thank you so much. Totally my fault on scheduling this week. So 100% thank you for your flexibility, which is terrific. So Nick, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the show. And I'm looking forward to, we'll see what the NFL trade deadline brings us when we're chatting again next week.
Of course. Thanks so much, Paul.
There he is, Nick Faria. Before we get out of here, folks, something happened to our YouTube channel that's pretty historic and pretty cool, and I want to celebrate it with you guys right now. Number one, we have 400 plus people in the room, so make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We've reached a new milestone on this channel, and it's crazy. I just celebrated 5 years. This isn't the milestone, by the way, but I just celebrated 5 years of doing YouTube in September last month. We just cleared, folks. We just cleared. Let me get some music or something ready here. We just friggin' cleared 3 million views. 3 million views. I could have never imagined that this channel is now well over 3 million views. We're at like 3,016,000 views. Folks, I talk New York Jets. Now, with our recent radio show turning digital, you guys are seeing some other things too. We talk Survivor on Wednesday nights and some overall NFL, and there's a few other shows. But Boy Green Daily, the bare bones of what this channel is all about. We have 3 million career views. That is an unbelievable milestone. That's super cool. It's not even possible without all you guys. I mean, that's insane, man. 3 gold-plated million views. And I want to thank all you guys. I know, we got Terrence going, zoinks, 3 million views. And I'm seeing all the congrats and all the cool messages and love and all that from everybody. Like, come on now. 3 million? I'm just some random guy talking New York Jets in Oswego, New York, which is right there on Lake Ontario. I'm just some random dude. Unbelievable. I'm humbled. I'm blessed. I am moved. I mean, 3 million views is crazy. That 3 million people at one point or another were watching my Jet videos. It's pretty cool. Very humbling. And hey, man, these milestones just keep stacking. Like I said, my next big one is I want to get to 10,000 subscribers, which are like, I don't know, what's the math on that? Something like 1,800 people aware of something. So we're climbing closer and closer. But 3 million views is a hell of a milestone. I want to thank you guys for doing it. And I'll announce it today, and you guys can take full advantage of it tomorrow. So as you guys know, we do a raffle every month on this channel. Throughout the entire month, you guys, if you spend $3 on the channel, you get a raffle ticket for our prizes. And I'll show the prizes here in just a second. But what we're going to do to celebrate this 3 million view milestone is tomorrow on the show, the final day of Halloween, or it is Halloween, the final day of October, excuse me. Every raffle ticket you guys purchase will be double. So let me explain what that means. And again, this is going to be showing up tomorrow. So $3 on the channel normally gets you a raffle ticket. If you buy, you buy yourself a Boy Green Coffee Club membership, or you gift a membership to somebody else, it normally gets you one raffle ticket. $3. Boy Green Coffee Club membership is $2.99. $3. Tomorrow on the show, the entire day, there's no limit to this. All of your raffle tickets will count double. So if you buy a Boy Green Coffee Club membership and you gift one away, you get 2 raffle tickets. If you buy 10, you get 20. If you buy 30, you get 60. I want to give back to you guys. So we are souping up the raffle tickets for our final day of the raffle tomorrow. And you guys can buy as many as you want. They're going to count as double. So thank you guys so much. It means the world. So enjoy that. You guys can start that tomorrow on Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning. But I'll be live for a bunch of shows. I have that one in our Joe Bartle Fantasy Football picks. You guys can also do it during that show as well. So, guys, you can make it rain from the high heavens. All raffle tickets will count as double. We'll have Bob Lederer on the show tomorrow. So all of those tickets will count as double as a way to give back. And again, guys, 3 million friggin' views. What in the world? Talking New York Jets here on the channel? Huh? What?
It's Jets, 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 Jets. I love Fireman Ed too.
Jets, 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 Jets.
Yes.
Pretty cool, everybody, and I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. This has been an awesome community. We've done a lot of cool things together. We had our first annual Boy Green Woody tailgate earlier this season. We're going to start doing them every year, and this is a community that's going to continue to grow, and I can't wait. I love the phone calls. I love the interactions. I love the guests, and it's an awesome time. Again, we'll be back today at 3 o'clock for Boy Green Meets Woody. We'll be on with Macho Talk Sports. I love Macho. And then Bob Lederer tomorrow morning for another episode of Boy Green Daily. And we'll continue to enjoy the bye week because we got our first win, baby, and 3 million views. Pretty freaking cool. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for the love. Again, make sure you guys like this video. Get this Jet Show in front of others. Let's cheers to 3 more million, 6 million. Let's get to there, baby. Let's keep stacking. Let's keep stacking. That'd be pretty awesome. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care, and go Jets.